hi to everyone listening. So today is another coaching call and unlimited. And if you guys haven't listened to one in the past, we keep it confidential. We keep it confidential so no one knows who's getting coached or anything like that. And so if it sounds like I'm just saying next or not saying people's names, that is why. And so I'm excited to dive in today. The thing that I actually wanted to talk about really briefly, and we've talked about this before, but I just think it's always a really good reminder, is making sure you guys are asking yourselves the right questions and just watching the way that you're speaking and thinking and talking to yourself. And so, for example, I was talking to a client this morning and she was kind of coming to me with the energy of, why am I not the one who's done that yet? Or comparing herself to a lot of other people. And one of the things that I was talking to her about is that I will never ask myself that question. I will never ask myself, why has she done that? Or why can't I do that? Or why aren't I there yet? I will ask myself a more empowered question. So something like, how do I create that? If there's something that I want, how do I create that? Or if I'm asking, why am I not there yet? It's going to come from a very curious, empowered place. And I think the thing that's so important is that if you guys are giving yourself disempowered questions, if there is disempowered self-talk, you're going to get more of the same. You're going to get disempowered answers. You're going to get disempowered conclusions. You're going to get disempowered. Whereas if you ask yourself either even just neutral questions, just more neutral questions, more empowered questions, you can be more, if you just use curiosity to get there, it is so much easier for you to get an answer from, how do I go to create that? What do I need to do to create that? Versus, why am I not there yet? I think that's so, so, so important. And just something that I wanted to bring up since it came up with a client and to make you guys all aware of as we go into this. But okay, thank you. Let's dive into, the other thing for podcast listeners, if I sometimes sound like I'm responding to something strange, it's just because I'm reading what they're saying in the chat. Okay, let's go into the first person getting coached.
I cut in line because I have a hard stop in a half hour. So thanks, guys. So I figured it out. I have a lot in Slack that we'll dig into more too. So I don't want to say I solved the imposter syndrome thing, but I have made such a huge breakthrough with it. I had a really, really cool therapy call yesterday. I put everything out. It's a novel, but check it out. It's really cool. But so I basically figured out the biggest piece of it was that I was putting myself out there as the wrong kind of expert. I know that word sucks, but that's just what I'm going to go with because that's what's coming up. But I had this huge block of like, as a systems person needing to be an app expert, when in reality, my actual expertise, which I don't know, I think is kind of badass, is that I'm just an expert of the overall picture and then, figuring that stuff out and doing this, whatever. So I figured that out. But I think so there's still a lot of work I have to do. I'm in the same boat about having that feeling of like nothing left to say. So I just wrote a note on that because there's definitely still a block there, which I think is just imposter syndrome is not healed overnight breakthrough, but I have work to do there. But I think the thing that I really need to figure out, so I told a few people in here, my goal for December, just overall, it started personal, was like this theme of childlike excitement. Don't know why it came up, but like I just want to be so in everything and so excited. And since yesterday, I hit this thing of like finally feeling like fine with not knowing it all and actually just excited about learning it all and whatever, that I feel really good about where I'm at. I have like this self-belief high that's going on right now that I'm really pumped about. But I want to maintain it. So the thing I think specifically that's coming up right now, this is why I said I have like a sea of things I need coaching on, but the thing that's coming up right now that I just put on my monthly review too is that I wanna prepare right now for how I'm going to navigate like the void, the silence, that comes up when you're marketing, and like no one's really, I don't want to say giving a shit, but like, you know what I mean? Like, you always have this sort of mental expectation, like that tit for tat kind of thing. I just want to figure out some ways that I can better prepare for when that inevitably is going to happen. It's part of business. So I can just sustain how I'm feeling right now because I feel really good right now.
Okay, cool. I love this. And this is all very exciting. So the first thing, go watch the 12 ways I maintain my belief video. That's just a lot of the ways that I do this, but let me speak more to a couple other things. So you guys know this, and I have a new one-to-one. So I started with this new one-to-one, and I was telling her all about our Friday celebrations and all the things that happen. And I'm just going to re-explain it here because I think it's always good to hear again. But one of the ways I really believe basically that the low times are going to come. Like, you're not always going to feel, here's the thing. You can have the identity of confidence, but you're not always going to feel confident. It is totally, completely unfucking realistic to think that we're always going to feel confident. You're going to have the whole human spectrum of emotions all of the time, but it doesn't have to take away the identity of it. And so something that is going to help, well, let me write down this because I have a million things going, but something that's going to help is the celebration piece. So kind of going off of, it's in module 1, the joy reserve or confidence reserve. When you are regularly, genuinely honoring the ways you're growing, what you're doing, celebrating in a way that it's not just like quietly for the 10 seconds that it happens, you're going to build up this confidence reserve of, okay, I'm doing good things. I'm killing it. I'm growing, all these things, so that when the hard times hit, you're not just like, well, fuck, I'm not growing. You have all of this in your brain that you've been spending time focusing on that's going to help you feel less low. And that I've always said this. The clients who do the best are the ones who are celebrating every single Friday and throughout the week, because you're actually honoring and the hard times come and you don't get to fall so low. So that is I literally always think of Sims. Does anyone play Sims? I don't play Sims anymore. I haven't in a while, but it's like their bars go low. You guys are just like, if you're not celebrating, you're letting your bar get low and then shocked that you don't feel good or don't have self-belief. Whereas if you're celebrating, it's like refilling your bar. So that's the first thing. The other thing is a lot of what's in the video is just self-validating, which is part of the celebration. But I think the other thing is the almost like little secret key that I can always come back to is that when I am marketing and it's crickets, which guys, it's always fucking crickets with me. It is not loud. The people who are in my DMs are you guys. No one else is. And so it is always going to be quiet, but that's okay. I don't have the expectation. I don't believe in the whole fucking marketing thing where it's like your DMs are blown up and everyone loves you and everyone's waiting to pay you. Like, great, love that if it's happening, but that's not actually the norm. And so I seriously can't believe you have crickets. Yeah, no one talks to me. I wish you guys would talk to me more. And so the thing is that I keep in mind, sure, we can keep in mind like how people buy and they're quiet and all these things, but my job is to focus on them. The more I'm focusing on them, the less I'm focusing on myself. I don't know why you guys are so surprised at my public comments right now. So if I'm focusing on myself, yeah, of course I'm going to be upset that no one's validating me and no one's telling me how much they love everything that I do and blah, blah, blah. Whereas when I'm focused on, okay, what do they need to hear? How can I help them? How can I go deeper on this? All the while, of course, it always helps to be focusing on your clients. So when my crickets are DMs, my DMs are crickets, but I'm always thinking about the conversations that you all are having with me. And that is going into my marketing. And so it's always just like, how can I better serve my clients? How can I better then serve my audience? So because you're focused on the service aspect, because you're focused on them, it's going to feel so much better than focus on why isn't anyone responding to me? No one cares about what I have to say, and going down that rabbit hole, which is really just you not self-validating. Whereas if you would spend self-validating, it's easier for you to slip or to focus on the service rather than slip into kind of like, why isn't this happening? That's another really big one. And then any questions from anyone or the person getting coached without saying your name before I go on to the next thing? Okay, you guys can pop in the chat. The other thing is there is such a common thing where when people have I feel like I'm on like my high horse right now, just like talking to you guys, but when people are always like, oh, I have the emotional roller coaster, sometimes I'm confident, but sometimes I'm not. It's because if we go back to the beginning of what I was saying, they have feelings of confidence, but they're not working on becoming confident, having that identity of confidence. So what I want you focusing on is the identity piece, which is just truly going to come down to consistently choosing yourself over and over and over, and being very aware of how you are talking to yourself, how you are viewing yourself, and not just letting the thoughts slip time and time again. So I really think, and you guys have heard me say this, confidence is a million decisions to choose yourself. So instead of just something good happens and then we have that feeling of confidence on the human spectrum of emotions, it is consistently choosing yourself, becoming your own first choice, having your back, choosing the beautiful thoughts about yourself so that you have an identity of confidence and that grows. Does that help? What are your thoughts? I know I just talked to you for like 10 minutes.
I wrote pages here, but I think this is resonating a ton because actually, especially the thing that you said about focusing on like serving versus self. This was actually something that I dove into last week because I caught a podcast that somebody put out on that whole topic. I've had this whole thing in my head. I swear this is an OCD thought of that. I'm just like the most selfish person. I'm the most selfish person. I don't actually care about my clients. I just want money. And here I am being an imposter syndrome person who's afraid of hurting people by not being good enough. How that equates, don't know. Brains are dumb. But no, I think that was like, that is my other focus. So there's that cool, like childlike excitement, the self-belief, being really excited about myself, but also like I have this thing right in front of me every day now that's like a taking the day to day of what I'm doing, what I'm good at, what I'm trying to market, whatever, and just putting it all in a perspective of like, how am I helping? Or like, what can I give today? So I really love that you said that because I feel like part of this for me always is part of my personality is just being like, am I doing this right? Like, am I following the step by step the way I should and having to constantly validate that? And that's something that I'm working on too. But I think, and I jotted down so many things that I'm going to start to put in day to day right now to kind of make this happen for this month. But I did actually have a moment where I was sitting there this morning. I woke up and I was kind of thinking about how like last month was a really good month in a backwards way, you know, financially. This month it works out because last month was great. Next month is going to be a little scary. I'm nervous. Like I'm really nervous right now, but there was something where I was sitting there and I was just like, whatever. Like whatever's going to I know I'm not going to quit. It could get as bad as it possibly can and I do not see any other option. Like it's just not I'm not going to quit. So at this point I'm like whatever. And I feel like that's such a good sign that that it's clicking. I don't know. Here I am, me,
It is.
nameless person, who has never been excited about who I am, super excited about who I am right now, like getting out of my shell, feeling like just I mean, I feel comfortable. You guys all know I said I felt like I didn't belong in here when I first started, but like I feel like I belong somewhere. I feel like I can be me. And I felt okay today with the idea of possible chaos and putting my family into poverty. So, you know, hey, that's good enough for me. So no, that all is amazing. That's good.
Okay. I love all of that. Here's the other thing, and it's going to seem very paradoxical to what I also just told you. The whole thing with imposter syndrome is you're so fucking worried about what everyone else is going to think about you that you don't even know oftentimes what you think about yourself. You just assume whatever they think about you, and now that's what you think about you. So while you're going to focus on other people for your content and serving and all of that, I actually want you to in December too, to literally just I've said this before, and this is kind of the example I've done. Pretend you're on a fucking island alone. There's no one else with you. You're having a grand old time, by the way. It's not like you're stranded out there. You are on an island alone, and you are the only person who gets to have thoughts about what you're doing or who you are. And I've always said that if you are on an island alone, you guys would be celebrating if you could open a fucking coconut. Like you would not be so worried about what everyone thinks and if you're doing the right thing or if you're doing a good job. Like you would have such beautiful natural thoughts about yourself. And I genuinely think that's the state of how we are, is we have good thoughts about ourselves. Think about little kids. They love themselves. It is so much like I want you to just focus on truly the thoughts you have about yourself. If no one were watching, if no one were going to see any of this, if you were just putting out into the world and not focus on what other people are going or how they're going to perceive you. That is also going to clean up so much of the imposter syndrome. Focus on that too. So content, other people, what you're doing, whatever, self-validating, Just your thoughts.
Oh yeah, I'm down with that. I spent all of November so heavy in like the comparison, the content absorption. Like, I mean, it was bad. It was like drug addiction bad. Like I could not stop. I could not stop looking at everybody else's stuff. It was seriously bad. And I feel like that just kind of put me into this like thing where it was like, I'm done. I'm done feeling like this. I'm done doing this. If there's only one way forward, I'm not making it painful for myself anymore. So nope, I love that.
Okay, I love
And
it
I
too.
love being alone. I'd love to be alone on an island by myself. I'll take that any day. So
You
no, it's
go,
good.
you just like that and do that. But I think that's amazing.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you.
Of course. Okay. Next, the chat is blowing up. Next person.
Hello, I am next person.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Okay, so I have two things, but hopefully can make it fast when I have time for everyone. So I think, long story short, a lot of good opportunities are coming up for me within my job. That's my 9 to 5. I am interested in still keeping my 9 to 5 a while, specifically because my like long term, what I would love is to like be an independent coach for a while, but basically to like at some point get hired by an executive coaching firm, which often means that like I sort of need a senior title. Like one of my other coaches, she was like a VP at a marketing agency, and then she was able to get hired to be an executive coach because they saw her as senior. Anyways, that's the context. I feel like though I'm trying to figure out like, I just am struggling with like, there are different roles, some that give me like more time, but a less cool title. But like the more time means that I would have more time to do my coaching. There's a job that's like a more senior title, but like I'll have less time for coaching, but still some time. Anyways, I'm navigating how to think about that.
What do you really want? Let's just start there.
I mean, what I really want is to be rich enough that I don't have to work, and that I can like give my money to causes, or I can just like do things for free. Anyways, yes, it's to be rich enough that I like can just do whatever the fuck I want.
What do you want right now? Other than that. Here's what I'm kind of picking up. You feel like there must be a trade-off. And I think this is kind of what we talked about in our intensive is what if there really doesn't have to be a trade-off? You have stories about your time, right? Around how much is available for both job, social, business. But what if these positions that you're deciding between do not have to be a trade-off of the coaching or the job or anything like that? What if you can figure out how to have all of it?
Like no matter which role I take, maybe it's more about the role that I want rather than like me thinking about this time trade-off, quote unquote, because it doesn't exist.
That's what I'm asking of course there's more constraints, right? But that's why I'm asking, what is it that you really want?
Yeah.
Because I'm on one hand, yes, it's the coaching, of course we know this, but there's also desires that you have for your job. You like your job. So, but I think what you're telling yourself is, well, if I take this, then it's less time for this. If I take that, it's this and that. What if you can have whatever it is that you want, all of it?
Okay. I like that thought. I will meditate on it.
Yeah. I think there is, if you're willing to see it, a way in which you can probably have it all.
Yeah. Okay.
Thoughts? Anything?
I'm going to meditate on that.
Okay, you come back to me.
Okay. And then my second one, which I think is quick, but basically like my vision for my business is to like use social media, but not be so reliant on it. And part of how I see other people do that is through collaborations, whether that's being on a podcast episode or like doing a live with someone. But basically, I feel like I have a lot of imposter syndrome that like, who am I to pitch myself for these things? And so I don't know if it's like realistic of like, I just need to set a thing of like, once I work with 5 clients, then I am like an expert anyways. Yeah.
No, okay. I want you to be so meticulous watching your brain with all of the like rules and constrictions that you put on things. I was telling, oh, I can't say the name. That's okay. I was telling someone in this room that something that I really have never loved is playing by the rules or the precedent that's come before me. So, for example, as you guys can literally see from the beautiful people in this room, I have a very international business. My client base I've worked with over 15 countries, and that has been the case since the first year in my business. Most businesses of my size or have been as long as me, they are only working with people probably from the US and Canada. There's nothing wrong with that. I just decided I didn't have to be the 7-figure business to start attracting international clients. I wanted it then and now, so I took the steps to create it. Same thing is that I've done this a bunch of other times in different places. I've decided that I could, the first year I was determined to have a multiple 6-figure business, and I didn't care that it was incredibly uncommon. I was going to do it, and I didn't care that I didn't see anyone else doing it. So there are things where if you're like, I want to go be on podcasts and speaking and not have to rely as much on social media, fantastic. There's no constraints. And just because you haven't seen someone do it that has similar, let's say, qualities, characteristics, credentials to you, does not matter. If you want to go create that, that is something that you very much can create for yourself.
What is a good thought for me to counter my imposter? I mean, I guess the thought is just like, I can break the rules. I can do it even if I haven't seen it before. I guess it just doesn't like feel, it doesn't, maybe I just need to come up with the thought that like actually feels true in my body.
Yes. And let's play around with a bunch of thoughts. I mean, you guys have heard this from me before. I'll just play around with different thoughts or ideas until it feels really good in my body and my body doesn't fight it. And so the one that I rely on a lot, and it works, sometimes I love it. Sometimes I'm like, this is stale. I don't like this. But ever since I was in college, the thought that I always had, I was literally be in bathroom stalls before interviews telling this to myself, but I would always say, I can achieve anything I set my mind to. I believe I can achieve anything I set my mind to. And that was just something, again, if that's a thought that doesn't click, throw it out the window. But for me, in a lot of times in my life, that's clicked where I've been like, I don't need, so for me, that thought just tells me I don't need proof. I don't need to look at other people. If I want something, I believe if I set my mind to it, I can achieve it. And it's that simple. I don't have to like go into the complexities of it. But that was a mantra that I have very, very much lived by. But I think for the thing I would also dig into is sure imposter syndrome, and we can go back to the conversation that we had before with the person before you. But I think what's important there is like imposter syndrome around what? Imposter syndrome is always around being found out. What are you so afraid to be found out about?
I think I'm afraid to be found out that I'm not qualified enough, or like basically that like I'm going to give someone wrong advice because I don't have a PhD, because I'm not a licensed therapist, or because I'm not XYZ of more qualifications. And I'm going to like harm someone by being unqualified.
What do you want to do about that?
Get a PhD. That's a joke. But my brain was like last night, I was like, do I get a therapy license? No, I like the thought that you just said of like, I can achieve anything I set my mind to. Because that one really resonates. And I have evidence for other places I've done that in my life. And I think it also can be a thought of like, just like, people can, let's just say, learn to code without having to get a bachelor's in that. I can learn to be a good coach through experience and through my lived experience. Anyways, I like that I can achieve anything I set my mind to. I feel like it answers a lot of my thoughts. Like it also answers the 9 to 5 thought anyways, I like that one.
Okay, cool. I also think, I'm gonna reflect something back to you. I think oh my God, did it just leave my brain? It did, but it'll come back. I trust it. I think the conversation that we had on our call yesterday, I'll say that conversation yesterday, some of this like the very much self-imposed restrictions you place on yourself with this, I think it all comes from what you just said. I think the underlying fear there is I'm afraid I'll either do harm or I'm afraid that I'm not actually going to be ready for this. And I think a lot of what pops up for you is just fancy iterations.
Yeah, I agree.
So let's keep digging into that.
Yeah. And part of it is I feel very ready to just take action. And so I think to like see that I do good results. But yeah, these were the thoughts I was having today that I really couldn't answer. Great. Thank you. You're the best.
Amazing. Who is next? I know there's some time constraints and switching and such.
Okay, I believe I am next. So I've got like a confidence two-parter about my health. So like 98% of the time, I feel like I'm 100% like I believe in myself. I'm gonna get better. This is all just gonna be a chapter. It's all gonna be behind me. I'm gonna be fine. And every time, like I've said what's going on enough times where like when I do tell people, there's no emotion attached. Like it's fine until I'm either having a phone call with a doctor or sitting in a doctor's office, and it's kind of like literally like hits me in the face basically, or like knocks the wind out of my lungs basically, and then I'm like have zero confidence whatsoever. I like yesterday I got like a pre-surgery call with the PA, and she was telling me the genetic results came back from my biopsy, and I guess it's a little bit more of an aggressive form, not the most aggressive, but a little bit more aggressive, which means like after surgery I'm gonna have to go get like full body like scans and things, and I'm gonna have to do that yearly. And it's like times like those where I'm like, oh my God, like this is so much more serious than like day to day. I'm just going about my day. I'm just doing my thing. And like, it's not something I'm thinking about all day until it's at like night and I cry every night. Or it's like at these moments when I get a phone call and like it really hits me and like I don't even have the capacity to do anything else because I'm just like kind of frozen. Like, oh my God, like what if this doesn't pan out how I believe it's going to? And like, I don't know what I'll do then. But yeah, it's almost like, I don't know, like 98% of the time, I'm super confident. I'm like, this is going to be fine. Like I had a Reiki session and she's like, she was pulling cards and she's pulled a card for my destiny and she doesn't even know what's going on with me. And she's like, you're going to survive this. Everything you're going through, you're going to survive. And I'm just like crying. So like I have belief, but then there's times like this where I'm like, now I don't know.
I think the thing that I really want to be clear on, and this applies to everyone, but especially with what you're saying now too, you're allowed to have fears. You're allowed to not always put on the brave face, and it doesn't mean you're not confident in what will happen. And I think the differentiator here that I would really say with you is like, well, okay, let me say it this way. I'm going to apply the just general confidence to myself. I am a confident person, right? I think most people would agree with this for the most part. I'm a confident person. I still have doubts that come up in my head. I still just have to choose new ones, but I'm not doubting myself. I'm not like doubting what I can do. I just have things that pass through my head because I'm a human who's always going to have all the thoughts. So for you, it's the same thing where it's like, it does sound like you're confident. It's confident. It does sound like you have faith in this, but there are circumstances such as going to the doctor that are terrifying, that are making you have the doubtful thoughts. It does not sound like you're sitting around being like, this is going to be awful and I'm never going to get better and this is going to be the end of it. You're not having those thoughts. It sounds like they're just a flavor of like, well, what if I'm wrong? What if I'm just really confident? Or what if this isn't going to happen like I want? I don't want you to grip onto those and think that, like, so for example, you didn't say this, but I think a lot of times with like manifesting, commentary, chat, whatever discussions, we think if we have like one bad thought, we'll manifest that. And I don't want you to think it's going to be anything like that. I think you're having a human brain and being incredibly strong and powerful with this. But I think it's okay to have these thoughts. It's just about how do I regulate and self-soothe through them so that I don't have to feel quite as afraid, so that I can have my own back, so that I can feel supported by other people. But I don't want you to think that you're not being confident through this, or not, being as strong as you should, or anything like that, just because your brain is serving up very normal thoughts.
Yeah. One thing that comes up is like that idea of like, yeah, like what you're saying, if you have like in the manifesting world, like a negative thought, it's like, oh God, I'm going to manifest that. I really try not to like think that. Like today, it's a hard day and I'm just like letting it be a hard day. It is what it is. I'm just down today. I don't have energy for anything else. It is. And I don't think it's going to make anything worse. But sometimes the thought occurs to me like, okay, am I just like almost like gaslighting myself into believing like everything's fine, it's all going to be good? And then like when I do get hit with like news, like I'm in like this waiting period of like, I'm not going to know until after surgery if this thing has spread. And so I'm in like this period of like, is it going to all like come crashing down even like 100 times harder when it's like, oops, this thing has spread and now like, I'm going through something way worse. It's like this in between period of like, I'm trying my best to be confident, but at the same time, like, what if horrible news is around the corner and I'm just like, it's fine, everything's fine.
So the thing is with that is, no matter what, it sounds like you have a holding period, right? Like no matter what you do until surgery, you just don't know. And so if you're not going to know until then, how do you want to feel in the interim? Even whether you're wrong or you're right, that's the next thing. But between here and here, you get to decide how you want to feel or what you want to have happen. And it sounds like you're choosing a path that makes you feel best and safest and most supported to the best of your ability, versus like it's not going, even if let's say something doesn't go exactly as planned, you feeling shitty and being like all these bad things could happen, it's not going to change that right now. Right? So it's like, where can we just maximize you feeling safe in this holding period? Which I think
I'm trying to do my best.
There is the most amount of uncertainty that you will probably ever have in your life in these days. And I think you're doing a tremendous job.
Thank you.
You are doing, it sounds like, truly a great job staying very certain in what's happening in a very uncertain time. What's coming up?
Something that like the second part that kind of comes up with it is like, I feel like I'm doing the best I can to like be certain and like keep my belief as high as I can. But like, I really don't have, and this kind of goes with what I was saying yesterday too, of like not having much energy for like anything else. I've kind of had like a lot of guilt come up. Like, I feel like I've been in this space for almost 6 months now. So I'm almost halfway through like my time in Unlimited. And I have not at all taken advantage of like going through all the resources. Every time I do, look at the online courses, I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. I need to rewatch this and write as many notes as possible. Like everything I'm watching is amazing. But like, I'm not active in Slack whatsoever. I haven't hopped on an accountability call in months. Like I feel like I'm wasting my time. And same with like my previous mentor who I just finished up, like she was amazing and I accomplished amazing things, but like I didn't take full advantage because of like, there's just so much going on that I don't have the energy for anything else. And I'm like having a lot of like shame and guilt come up because of that.
Yes, I said this yesterday to someone else. You've been here 3 months.
Are you sure? I think I've been here 6.
Well, I'm really positive you've been here 3. So you still have 9 left. So don't worry about that. You guys are like, this week, you guys are like, I am halfway through. And I'm like, literally, no, you're not. You're a quarter of the way through. So that is the first thing that I just want everyone commenting this out right now. You are at 3 months. Okay, so let's clear that up. But here's what I would say, and I'm gonna let the 3-4 other people in here who have either been in here. I'm just gonna let me type their names. Okay. Those 4 people can very much attest that your experience in Unlimited it's never going to look the same way. And I know that a lot of the industry is like, we all work through the same things together every week, right? Like that's how it works. And those programs are fantastic. But this is a program where it's just your journey. Like it's literally just the journey you have in here. The journey you have in here, you get to choose very much, but it does not need to look like I watch a curriculum video every day. I implement curriculum videos every day. Like there are people in here who have literally not opened the curriculum and had amazing growth. There are people who have not showed up to every call and had amazing growth. There is someone in here that she talks to me on Instagram. She does not come to calls. She looks at the curriculum sometimes. She literally won't come to calls, but she listens to those replays and gets what she needs. So I would ask yourself, like, what do I actually want to get from this? And you write your goals. You come tell me your goals. Even put them in the monthly form. We'll get you there. Even if this is going on, even if you can't show up, even if you were actually 6 months in. So I don't think you have to like, it's not about maximizing. It's just like, what are my goals? Let me bring them to Mackenzie. We'll get there together.
Okay. I appreciate that. Yeah. I don't know why I'm like, oh my God, half my time is over. I've like barely participated. I haven't watched all the replays. Like I was like freaking out, like I'm wasting, so much time, but okay. That feels better to know. I have lots of time and I'm just going at a different pace than others and going through other things. So my end goal is still to be like my most confident, audacious self. And I've got time to get there. So I got to just go through this battle first.
Trying to get there. You're going to be a completely new person and you don't even need to worry about it. Literally just drop your goals in Slack. Let's just go over it again and we'll talk exactly how to get you there.
Okay. I appreciate you.
Of course. We have 9 more months together. Okay, cool. Okay. Who is next?
It's me. I hope it's okay that my camera's off. It's giving Dusty and Crusty. On my own island today. My fiance is not here, so yeah, we're just letting it. Yeah. Anyway, so I am noticing that I am really, really, even though I've made the decision to like get a part-time job, I actually found this role with this company that like I've kind of been low-key stalking their. Like, because I'm a foodie and their whole business is about getting people to like go to more local spots, and everyone on their team is young and hip and cool and like really loves their work. They have a full-time event coordinator position open. It's been posted for 26 days now. And I saw that it was there and I wanted to apply when it was 22 days. So I waited 4 days now. My brain is telling me, what's the point? There's already so many applicants who've applied. It's 26 days that it's been there. I've been sitting on this for 4 days at this point, counting myself out, and it's just so annoying. But also, I think it's partially because it's full-time, and I want part-time. And I applied to a part-time position with them before, didn't hear back. It was a different position, but like similar for events. And so that's also in the back of my head. And so I've literally just been on Instagram scrolling, waiting for this call because I just cannot do it. So I'm like, girl, you need coaching. And then I was not going to ask for coaching because then I'm like, just do it. But then I'm like, girl, we need coaching. So here we are.
Okay. Hello. Okay. Here you are. What's the worst that could possibly happen?
I don't hear anything back.
Yeah, but that's not what you're afraid of. That's not what you're afraid of. What are you going to make it mean if you don't hear anything back? That's what you're afraid of. Yep.
I can already feel it. It's like them. I think it's a not enoughness. I'm like, I'm about to come up with some bullshit excuse. I'm like, it's definitely the not enoughness.
Yeah. So you're going to make it mean if you apply to this job, which I almost said your name. It sounds like would really be amazing for like knowing you, knowing everything you're about. It sounds like perfect for you. It sounds amazing. So instead of going something after amazing that lights you up that you're so excited about, you're not going to, because if you don't hear back, it would mean you're not enough. But you know what the fuck you're doing? Deciding you're not enough by not applying.
Literally. So how do I do? I mean, it just feels like so hard. I'm like, I have this whole to-do list and I'll do everything else. I'll make a post. I'm doing stuff that I didn't want to do 2 weeks ago in minutes because I don't want to do this thing. It's like, what? Like, do it.
But you do want to do this thing.
Yeah.
You do want to do this. And let's literally come up right now, and people can pop it in the chat too. What are 5 other explanations for what could happen as to why you don't hear back other than you're not good enough?
That is a good question. 5 other explanations. Let's see what people say in the chat. Are you all typing?
Oh my God, no, you
No, I've got a few too, because like it's definitely like helpful for me to reflect too, but like I don't know.
Yeah, they're in the chat. They chose not to hire right now. Happens all the time. They already hired and closed the application, but not the page for it. Happens all the time. Budget changed and they can't hire. Happens all the time.
And I think
Notice it's about you though.
none of it is. But now I think my brain's like, so what's the point? But I think it's another excuse to avoid potentially being hurt.
Yeah, but what is the point?
I think the point is betting on myself, saying, you read this application and thought they were literally talking to you, because they're also a startup. I've worked with several startups. They're looking for someone who can like write short form copy. What the fuck do I do every day? So it's just like, it just feels, yeah, I think the biggest thing is it being for me.
Yeah. I also love the other one that just, I'm sorry, I have to give a spotlight to this. They hired inside their company, but they had to officially put the application up. That does also happen a lot. Here's what you're going to do. You're not going to like it, but we're going to talk about it every day if we have to. You're going to apply, but you're going to go further than applying. You're going to reach out to the hiring manager. You're going to find the hiring manager. You're going to reach out to the hiring manager. You're going to express your interest to the 10th degree. You're going to go above and beyond expressing it and how much you want this role, so that if another role pops up like this, which it probably will, because it has in the past, as you said, they will think of you.
You know what's crazy, Mackenzie?
What?
I actually looked her up. I did.
You already know her.
And I found her LinkedIn and her Instagram, and I was like, merp. And now maybe it was because I was getting that nudge to like actually reach out.
And here's what I want you to think of. I don't know why I want to say your name so bad, but I'm not going to. Here's what I want you to think of. You can, let's say this. 3 months from now, you apply and you don't hear back, but you're going to be proud that you did this. You're going to be proud that you applied. You're going to be proud that you reached out to this hiring manager. You're going to be proud of yourself because you banged on yourself and you didn't back down. And that's going to teach you that it's safe to believe in yourself, and you can continue to do that. And guess how that's going to pay off in your business? Or in 3 months, you could have this job. You could be running your business, making more money than ever before in both places, because you have, again, chosen to believe in yourself. But what we're not going to do is get 3 months from now and you didn't apply because you were scared.
And then looking and seeing who got it. I'm such a nut like that too. I'll definitely like go and look. Okay, I love that. I'm gonna send a message in Slack when I do it, because I want to celebrate.
Yeah.
Today by 5 p.m. Eastern. Latest. Thank you so much.
Of course. Hey, solo traveler, are you doing good? You just do thumbs up, thumbs down. Either way, just checking on you. Do you want to talk? You don't have to.
I don't know. I feel like I'm like, my brain is such a mess that I don't know like what to talk about to get coached, really.
You don't need coaching.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's been like ups and downs today. I feel better than yesterday, but it's hard.
Yeah, it's hard, but you did better than yesterday. You're doing it. You got your free coffees today.
Oh my gosh, that was so stupid.
I love
like
it.
he literally paid me to drink his coffee. Like, please.
I'm not surprised at all by that. It's all working out. It is. This, like, what you messaged me last night around, like, I told him not to come because it's like, this is the growth I need to have. That's really big.
Yeah.
We're all really proud of you. And we're all still here. You're all still here if you want to chat.
Yeah, honestly, like having you is helping me so much. I couldn't do this without you.
You make me cry.
It's honestly like this amount of support I could have never imagined for myself. It's honestly like it's so helpful that you are all keeping me busy. Messaging with you and the calls I had with you last night were so helpful. So I'm truly grateful.
I'm worried, if anything, are you even having fun there, considering we're keeping you so busy? Probably just looking.
No, you are really helping me to have fun because, yeah, you're helping me to process and also like just sometimes take my thoughts elsewhere. And I feel less lonely. So that's good.
It's all gonna work out. And you're gonna do amazing. And you're gonna be so fucking proud of yourself on the other side of this. You really are. Here for you, okay? Okay, everyone. I had so much fun. I love you all as always. And talk to you on Monday. Oh, celebrations channel, then Monday. Okay. All right. Bye, everyone. Thanks for listening, and a reminder that Unlimited is open. The doors are open from the time you listen to this episode until December 14th. And if you apply before Wednesday, December 6th, you will also get a bonus 2-hour VIP intensive call with me, which is amazing. Unlimited is the program where we really support female founders building audacious self-belief and the skills to create unrealistic success on repeat using the power of confident marketing. I hope you apply. I hope you come in. This is just the best place. We're known for crazy success stories, women building fast confidence, and an unmatched community of female founders really just going after and creating the confidence and success that they've always, always desired. We've had clients who have wanted to retire and become full-time writers, live in Europe, and 4 months later, they're doing just that. Ex-teachers who dreamed of running a new kind of school, thinking that it was a decade away pipeline dream, and she had students enrolled less than a year later. Those with $50,000 of debt who dreamed of moving abroad and less than a year later manifested the 50K, running an agency and engaged to a new dream partner in the UK. Those who have always felt different, underpaid, overlooked, to joining Unlimited and making 15K months, coming out with their sexuality, paying for trips around the world. Women struggling to create 5K months in constant feast or famine go on to create $30,000 months in Unlimited in under 90 days. Everyone thinks it can't be them until they join Unlimited, and it is, and it's your turn. So I'd love to have you apply, and you can go in the show notes to find the link to Unlimited to book a call and enroll. I can't wait to see you inside.